Come on in, pull up a chair, and take a load off because today I'll be unboxing and taking a first look at Flashpoint South China Sea from GMT Games. And we'll get stuck in right after this. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. As I mentioned in the open, today I'll be unboxing and taking a first look at Flashpoint South China Sea from GMT Games. This is the first volume in the new Flashpoint series. This game is designed by Harold Buchanan with graphics provided by Terry Leeds. The game is for 1 or 2 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 30 to 60 minutes, and is available right now, carrying an MSRP of $45. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Flashpoint South China Sea. I'm really excited to take a peek at this because I have really been looking forward to checking this out. Now, before we dive on in, do want to mention the fine folks over at GMT Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But as always, neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And these days, it's important that you know that. All right, let's take a look at the back here. So first off, I do want to mention that it is for 1 or 2 players because there is a full solitaire system included in this box. So you don't necessarily need to have 2 players, which is a bit unusual for a card-driven game. But we have seen more solo variants from GMT regarding card-driven games. So that's pretty cool that you can play the solitaire as well. And low complexity. So one of the aspects of this that I was really excited to jump into is this strikes me as being a perfect gateway game to bring new players into the world of war games, because it's not going to have that typical hex and counter look to it. It is cutting edge, straight from the headlines, and it is low complexity to introduce new players to this system. Flashpoint South China Sea is a 2-player strategy game that simulates the complex geopolitical competition currently taking place between the United States and China in a disputed region of the South China Sea. The game is driven by a card deck that captures developments ripped straight from today's headlines, bolstered by cards with a context-setting reading of recent history and a set of speculative cards capturing a diverse range of potential future events. All right, there's a little bit more there, but we're going to jump on in and take a peek. Let's get this shrink wrap off. And get this opened up. So we have our rules of play and only a few pages of rules. That's pretty cool. Looks like we've got maybe 12 pages. So let's take a peek. Looks like we've got a playbook here as well. And I always look forward to those with GMT. As I point out constantly, what I tend to do when I get a new GMT game, especially one that I'm not familiar with the systems that it utilizes, I always read the playbook first, because then when I dive into the rules, I have a better feel for things. I don't know if a lot of other gamers out there do that, but it just tends to be a very good fit for me. So it says Flashpoint South China Sea simulates the actions taken by the United States and China to affect economic and diplomatic factors, island reclamation, freedom of navigation operations, and political warfare in the disputed region of the South China Sea after the year 2000. So we get terms and concepts. Get a breakdown of what we have in the box. So we've got event cards, we've got solo cards, we also have scoring cards, as well as some cubes and discs, showing us how to set the game up. So we have a complete guide of how to put this together. It's like we have a victory point track that might seesaw back and forth, a la Twilight Struggle. So we've got the gameplay, sequence of actions, each campaign. Side with the fewest victory points chooses which side goes first. If the VP marker is at 0, China chooses. Players alternate playing event cards until each side's hand is empty. After the first and second campaign, reset the board. And then after the third campaign, turn all scoring cards face up. Score each of the 7 scoring cards in card number order and determine the winner. If any side reaches 15 victory points during play or during final scoring, they win an instant victory. So we have playing event cards. So we have operational values. We have a mode, our event title. What side does this card belong to? Description of the event. We have tension. So we have a tension track. That's pretty wild. Scoring impact and the card number. So we have influence. So far this has a bit of a Twilight Struggle vibe to it. Maybe a bit of a kind of a Twilight Struggle light. Here's our tension track. Operations. Each event card has an operation value of 1, 2, or 3. When playing a card to execute operations, any mix of operations may be performed up to the total operations value of the card. So you can place influence either economically or diplomatically. You can move 1 cube from your reserve to being available. You can place 1 freedom of navigation operations token in increased tension. You can place 1 Chinese reclamation and increase tension as well. You can place 1 cube in political warfare, and you can resolve political warfare. So looks like those are our operations. Then we've got our scoring cards. So our scoring impact icon, the title of it, directions for it, and the card number as well. So we're going to score countries, and it's going to include economic and diplomatic influence, rites of passage. Looks like we've got the lock. Not sure what that might represent, as well as CR cubes. Talking about scoring and victory. And then looks like we've got some QRCs here. That's kind of cool. Maybe we get some video of gameplay in here. And then we got our operations cost on the back as well. So all told, we're looking at 12 pages. Easy peasy. It looks pretty easy to jump on into. I am going to bust this out with my nephew Cameron next time we get together to play. So here's our playbook. And this looks like we've got about 13 pages. Let's see if we get an example of play in here. So we get behind the scenes of the cards, talking about the historical aspect of each of these event cards. Talking about the scoring cards, giving us some strategy tips. A timeline of the South China Sea dispute up through 2021. And then we get a little bit of designer notes from Harold Buchanan. And then we have the event card distribution. There are 48 event cards in total. Next up, we also have rules of play for solitaire. Very nice. We already know there is a solitaire deck that we're going to be taking a peek at. So, oh, wow, this is a complete rule book in itself. It is not just sharing options for solitaire play, because it's got kind of a breakdown, the components, important terms, just like we saw in the rule book. We've got our solo game set up, gameplay, operations once again, scoring cards, the solo opponent's turn, talking about the various different steps you're going to take for that. Very nice. And of course, we'll wrap up with scoring and victory. So that is our solitaire rules of play. It's like we've got some play aids. So here we've got our solo play aid for the US as an opponent. So showing us the sequence of play and some reminders. And then we have the solo play aid if China is the opponent. Nice card stock, should hold up fairly well. We also have operations cost and sequence of actions, and we have 2 of these, so 1 for each player. So we've got that. We've got a game board. So we have the People's Republic of China. Here's our tension track. Here we have the United States of America. So we've got cubes in reserve, and then we have available cubes, I believe, is how this is going to work. Going through the 3 campaigns. So we have Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Brunei, Scarborough Shoal, and the Paracel Islands. So we've got all of that. And then down at the bottom, this is our victory point track. So there are our instant victories either for the US or for China. And nice, thick cardboard on this as well. It does have a matte finish. There's really no sheen to it. So we also have our cubes. So we've got red cubes, and we also have some black discs. Give you a little closer look. All right, come on, autofocus, pick this up. Yeah, the autofocus kind of gets lost a little bit with a black background. So there are the cubes. Here is our insert. I always like the fact that GMT Games almost always does a bit of an insert in their boxes. And then we've got our cards. So we've got solo cards and event cards, and then we also have scoring cards. So we're going to take a peek. We're not going to look at each and every one of these cards. So looks like these are the events. These are scoring. And these are solitaire. So these are the solo cards. So to kind of give you an idea here, I, of course, have absolutely no idea what these cards represent. It looks as though these might be the focuses of where influence might be placed and where rites of passage might be focused on. So those are the solo cards. Here are the scoring cards. So we have a variety of different scoring cards here as well. Compare all cubes in Malaysia and the Spratly Islands. Side with positive differential scores. It has VPs not exceeding 2. For each country in which a side has the most economic influence, that side scores 1 victory point. Cool. So a variety of different aspects to the game as far as scoring. So that's kind of interesting. And then we've got the event cards. Take a look at some of these. So we've got them broken up by the operational values I see. I'm going to take a guess. Black is kind of a neutral card. Red is Chinese. So here we have Chinese hackers target U.S. carrier. Vietnam reclaims Sand City, or I'm sorry, Sand K. Sand City. Where did I get that from? Read English, Jeff. Economic crisis for the Chinese. So these are U.S. cards here, obviously enough. USS Carl Vinson makes historic port call in Vietnam. U.S. companies fear Chinese reprisals over support for Hong Kong protests. Cool. Typhoon. If behind the VPs select Scarborough Shoal, Paracel Islands, or Spratly Islands, move all phonops and CRs there to available and set tension to low. So that decreases tension to critical. U.S.-China trade war. Sweet. This looks very, very interesting. So I am really looking forward to diving into this. So we've got our event cards. We've got our scoring cards, as well as our solitaire play cards. The cubes and discs, our game board, our 2-player aids, our solitaire play aid, our solo rules of play, our playbook, as well as the 2-player rules of play rule book. And that is what we find when we take everything from Flashpoint South China Sea outside the box. Of course, I will have a review of Flashpoint South China Sea in the very near future. Sweet. Looks very, very interesting. I am intrigued. That is for certain. All right. Once again, keep in mind, Flashpoint South China Sea is available right now. Carries an MSRP of $45. And as I mentioned with all GMT Games releases, they don't have huge print runs. So if you have any interest in picking up Flashpoint South China Sea, do it now. Do not wait until later. You do not want to pay the additional pricing from the secondary market if you can grab it now. So, all righty. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when I upload videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube. Thank you very much for taking some time out to watch this unboxing. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.